But I'm amazed by the fact that there's been such an outpouring of enthusiasm and talent for the Hyperloop competition. We've just been talking backstage with Steve, and some of the designs I think are really amazing. I mean, it's like, what we're really intended to do with the Hyperloop was really to spur interest in new forms of transportation. And I think, I'm starting to think this is really gonna happen. So, yeah. The level of tension, it's clear that the public and the world wants something new. And I think you guys are going to bring it to them. So, congratulations. We're thinking about the sort of competition that'll take place later this year, perhaps in the summer. And the goal is going to be to actually come up with something that can ultimately be used. So we want it to be something that if you would extend even though it's a sort of 1.5 kilometer track, if you were to extend that to hundreds of kilometers, that the system would still work. And then also I think we want to introduce sort of ideas, or have suggestions and ideas for how the track should be built. Like, how do you do a multi-100 kilometer track and make it work? Because we want to bring this to fruition and show people that something new and great can happen. It doesn't have to be the same old thing. So, yeah. So the basic idea with the competition is we're going to try to get to the highest possible speed in the 1.5 kilometer track, and then of course you have to stop before the end. And then there'll be a foam pit at the end. So you might recover some pieces of your pod. But the idea is to accelerate. We'll have a big screen showing the speed of the pod as it's going through the Hyperloop. It's going to be a big crowd, I think, particularly since it's in LA. It's like there'll be a lot of people watching. So people will see the speed get up to some crazy number, and then they'll be watching it break and see there'll be a lot of tension. It's going to break in time. I think it's going to be a really exciting event. So I'm looking forward to it, and yeah. So once again, thank you for all your efforts, and I can do a bit of Q&A if you'd like. So yeah. So yeah, I guess just fire away questions. Yeah. So what inspired me to sort of do the Hyperloop thing? First of all, I want to acknowledge the help of great people at SpaceX and Tesla who worked with me on it. But actually, what inspired me is I was stuck in LA traffic, and I was about an hour late for a talk, and I was thinking, man, there's got to be some better way to get around. So at first I had the idea that I had actually made no sense and it wouldn't work. But I kind of shot my mouth off at the event and said, yeah, I've got this idea for a new form of transport that I think would be really cool. And then I thought people would just not asking about it in the future, but then they did. So it's like, oh man, I better come up with something that actually does work. And then we actually only came to a solution that we thought would work maybe 2 days before the date that I published it. And then I just basically put it on the website and did 30 minutes of Q&A. And then it just went bananas, like it went super viral. I wasn't actually expecting that to happen. So I just wanted to do what I said I would do, which is write up the paper. So.
loose. I want too little.
Which one do you prefer? Steady average or do you go?
Okay, that's a good question. So, you know, when you consider the system as a whole, what matters is whatever the end thing is built that people actually use. The cost and the reliability and the utility have to be really as good as possible. So, really, the fundamental physics and economics should drive the true solution. And I'm not sure we know what that is yet. And that's really what we're doing here. This is a journey of discovery to say what is the right solution. I mean, there is also the wheels count. I should mention, and I actually think it sort of depends on if you have a lot of twists and turns in the track, and you essentially are limited on G's, then wheels would actually make the most sense for such a track. If you have a really straight shot, and you can go really long straightaway, then you may exceed the speed that wheels can really handle, overheat the wheels or have them not function very well. So I think actually for windy tracks it would probably be wheels, and then it's sort of up in the air as to what it would be for a longer range track where you really try to push the limits. Because ultimately you could go, I think, transonic, in transonic wheels are probably questionable. Sure, let me ask a question from over there. Yeah, so you can just yell it.
Hi, I'd like to ask a question about the competition itself. Why has SpaceX changed the rules 1.5 weeks before design weekend?
I'm just trying to make it difficult.
If you want to see this clearer, you can totally catch it on YouTube.
I think there was just some. Overall, and there may be some tweaks before the actual competition, because we really want, as I said, we really want this to be something that you could see an evolutionary path to a real system. Real Hyperloops that can be deployed around the world and used by millions of people. So. For the competition itself, we want to make sure that because it's a 1.5 kilometer track, there's certain things you could do to kind of game it, but it's like, okay, that really wouldn't work on a 200-mile track. So we want this to be something that is extensible to practical use.
Oops. Can't flip. You're welcome. They just surprised us. We didn't know Elon was here.
I think the tests on the 1.5 kilometer track, I think, are going to be fairly interesting. And then
you can probably catch it on YouTube. I'm pretty sure.
I think that'll be pretty exciting and get a lot of attention. And then maybe we'll try to do a longer track, like a 5 kilometer track. But I'd encourage people that are interested to sort of just join the competition, just generally sort of support the idea of new forms of transport. Even if ultimately what gets built is something that's quite different from what I wrote about in the paper, I think that would still be great. If we're making people's lives better and getting them to places conveniently, more safety and faster, it's just. But I think I really like the idea that you could live in one city and work in another city, and you can move fast enough that you can actually do that, and it frees people up. it gives people, free, just gives people more freedom. So. If I had to change anything in the document, well, I guess I would probably, like if somebody was going to build a working Hyperloop and try to make it work, I would advocate starting with the simplest useful system. So I'd probably advocate wheels and then you can sort of say, okay, it's working. Essentially, if you're trying to create a company, it's important to limit the number of miracles in series. And so you want to start off with something that's the most doable, and then expand from there. At SpaceX, we started off with what we thought was the smallest useful orbital rocket, doing about roughly 1,000 pounds to orbit. And it's a good thing we did that, because in the beginning we really didn't know what we were doing. And the first 3 rockets didn't work. And if we tried to do something much bigger or more complicated, then we probably would have run out of money and died. So we barely made it as it is. So that in general, I think, is good advice for people creating a company. Start with the minimally useful system. Something that you think is still compelling, but then leave future technologies for future upgrades.
Hi. The world sees you as a visionary. Have you had any thoughts on the extraterrestrial application of the Hyperloop?
On the application of the Hyperloop?
Yeah. Like maybe we can use it on the Mars?
Oh, sure. Yeah. Yeah, actually, on Mars, you basically just need a track, because on Earth we've got the air density is quite high, but on Mars it's 1% of Earth's atmospheric density. So probably you just need. You might be able to have a road, I would say. Go pretty fast. But it would obviously be, have to be electric, because there's no oxygen, so you have to have really fast electric cars or trains or things. Electric aircraft. All right, sure. Well, the competition, yeah, definitely. Yeah. I think I have a good feeling about this. I think the work that you guys are doing is going to blow people's minds. I mean, they really have no idea that this level of sophistication going into pod design, and then, like I said, we also want to probably get some work on what's the most economical way to build the test track. Because things get complicated over long distances. We've got the landscape can subside and rise a little bit, and the earthquakes and things. So I think, given this level of enthusiasm, there's no question we're going to have another Hyperloop competition. I think it's going to get better and better.
Do you see the first Hyperloop being built in the U.S. or overseas?
I actually don't know. I mean, I think wherever it gets built would be great. I mean, yeah. The thing that's really going to convince people is if they can take a ride in it. So wherever it's built, it needs to be something that gets used a lot, where ideally the economics prove out, and people like riding it. And wherever that's done, I think those are the important criteria for it to expand more broadly and be used widely throughout the world. I came up with the name, yeah. Well, because it was, I guess it was sort of a loop, go back and forth, a loop. And I thought if you, in the limit, as it got more and more sophisticated, you should be able to go to hypersonic velocity. So it's sort of hypersonic velocity too. Yeah. Good.
Poppy made it in China?
Well, Poppy made it might be. I mean, I'm just keen on seeing it happen somewhere. I think it's just, you know, it's exciting and inspiring to think about new forms of transportation or new technologies that make people's life better. Wherever they happen, I think it's great. And as soon as it happens, I think somewhere, and people see it really works out, I think it'll quickly spread throughout the world. So just try to get people in the back a little bit. Right. One bit of advice? I would say if you want to do a lot of dry runs with your pod, so in competing, try to do as many, make sure you test it out very thoroughly, and as close to the competition conditions as possible. So that's the most likely thing to lead to success, because it's amazing how even a small thing that goes wrong, can take something that would have been maybe a winning pod, but ends up in the crash pit. Yeah, way at the back there. Well, we don't have any specific plans to back Hyperloop companies. Right now, we're just trying to, in general, support the idea and support innovative thought in transport. So, it's possible we would back a team, but we're trying not to favorite one organization over another. We're trying to be as neutral as possible and just generally be helpful.
Thanks. Appreciate it. That's nice. Please share it with your followers. Tweet it out.
That's a great idea. Well, I've been thinking about the vertical takeoff and landing electric jet a bit more. I mean, I think I have something that might close. I'm quite tempted to do something about it. How do I convince people my ideas aren't crazy? Well, actually, that's generally what they thought. Actually, in starting SpaceX, they definitely thought I was crazy. Like one of my best friends compiled a long video of rockets crashing and made me watch the whole thing. And there's some other friends of mine that had been involved in a rocket startup. They said it was a terrible idea. But I kind of thought that we had a really tiny chance of succeeding anyway. Like maybe like on the order of 10% or something like that. So this wasn't. So if people say it was probably a fail, I was like, I would agree with them. And it was very close. I mean, we just barely made it with the fourth launch succeeding of SpaceX. Yeah, I think ultimately, seeing is believing. Like seeing physical hardware moving and doing useful things. That's what convinces people. So, well, either one. Just the same question.
Mr. Musk, I'm a Tesla intern, and my question is so I'm from Delhi, India, and like there right now, and like they have or even a rule whereby cars are not allowed on the streets, like for like 2 days in a week or so. And like right now, like the amount of like pollution is like intense. So right now, like can like like the actual Hyperloop idea be there like in countries like India where there's desperate need to kind of get rid of cars, like as in gasoline cars, not like the cars which is like because I stand with Tesla. So like, do you think something like this can happen in countries like India?
Absolutely. I think as soon as it's shown to work, and shown to work with safely and that the economics are good, I mean, it is important to bear in mind both the physics and the economics of a system like this. I think it would get deployed all around the world, certainly in high-density cities like Delhi. But I did forget to mention on the ideas front, which is, I think this is really a very simple and obvious idea, and I wish more people would do it, which is build more tunnels. Tunnels are great. It's just a hole in the ground. It's not that hard. But if you have tunnels in cities, you massively alleviate congestion. And you could have tunnels at all different levels. You could probably have 30 layers of tunnels and completely fix the congestion problem in high-density cities. So I strongly recommend tunnels. Yeah, since you're right next to me.
Elon Musk, first of all, we're so delighted to have you here. And I'm a liberal arts major, and I'm a huge nerd, whatever. But my question to you is, you have a history of starting pretty innovative companies. First started off with PayPal, and now you're known for SpaceX and Tesla. What was sort of like the formative moment in your life that made you go, okay, I'm going to do these huge, amazing, awesome things?
Well, I didn't really think I would do these things. I just knew that I wanted to be involved in things that would had at least the potential to change the world and be at the forefront of technology. So, I was basically going to be working on advanced energy storage technologies for electric vehicles in grad school at Stanford, and then the internet came along and I was like, well, I could try working on sort of a new form of ultracapacitor, which is what I was trying to develop. But then I wasn't sure whether success was one of the possible outcomes. So maybe it would succeed, maybe it wouldn't. But then the internet, which was really something that was going to change the world, and most people outside Silicon Valley didn't even know it existed. So I thought, well, I want to be involved in the internet. I can help build a few things there, and then get back to electric cars later, which is what happened. And then on the space thing, SpaceX didn't actually start out as a company. I was just sad that we had not sent people to Mars. So it actually started out as I want to try to fund a sort of small philanthropic mission to Mars to send a small greenhouse to the surface of Mars. So you have the furthest that life's ever traveled, the first life as we know it on Mars, and you'd have this great money shot of green plants on a red background. So that would be something that I think would get the public excited. And then I thought if the public got excited, then they would give NASA more money, and then we could continue the dream of Apollo. That was the intention. And then as I learned more and more, it became clear that unless there was a fundamental improvement in rocket technology, that there really an exciting future in space was not possible without fundamental improvements in rocket technology. In order for us to get space-rank civilization out there among the stars, we need dramatic improvements in rocket technology, and in particular, reusable orbital rockets. So then I tried starting SpaceX to solve that problem. But like I said, with the low problem, I was like, that's probably going to work. But then for the philanthropic mission, the greenhouse to Mars, I was 100% certain of losing the money that I put in there. So being only 90% likely to lose it for SpaceX seemed like an improvement. Sorry? Okay. That's great. Yes, it's cool. SpaceX has got a big test facility, a rocket development facility. It's not, depending on what you consider far or near, it's not that far from here. So we've got a big development facility in McGregor, so I'm there quite a lot. And always have a good time.
Here. Sorry.
Yeah, I think the world economy will move in cycles, and we'll have recession and boom and bust times. I think generally, working on something new and exciting gets people fired up to take action. It could help a little bit, but I think generally one should always expect there's going to be a boom and bust period in economies, and in recession times everything seems gloomy, and then in boomy times everything seems amazing. But really it's kind of a sine wave, Maybe. All right.
From what you have seen so far from students, do you plan to involve students more in the SpaceX projects, especially when it comes to launching vehicles and everything?
We'd certainly...
We need a promise.
Sure. SpaceX and Tesla are always looking for great engineering talent, so I would definitely encourage people to apply if they were interested in working on rockets or electric cars or batteries. Sure, I'll maybe 2 or 3 more questions, because it's actually, there's like 12 hands over there.
Hi, on our team, we'll be going to competition weekend, and we won the subsystem safety design award. Will you sign our design award?
Okay, how many of these are there? All right, you know what? If anyone who wants to sign, bring it back and I'll sign it. So. All right, just a couple more questions. All right, okay, we're in the back there. I'm just going by density of hands. So, okay, go ahead. Sorry? Talk about the team that works on the interior of the Dragon capsule. Well, we're building the interior to look nice and feel futuristic, and it needs to feel like a real spaceship. What? Okay, go ahead. Sorry? I don't think there's any, hopefully there's more than one company that builds Hyperloops, and as long as there's competition, the competition is good for innovation. And ideally, you want an industry where there's at least 3 or 4 entities competing. That, I think, tends to lead to the best level of innovation. Because any company that sort of stays stationary with that technology will be exceeded by their competitors. All right, let's ask one. What do you want to ask a question? All right, I'll do a few more questions. Falcon 9 Heavy is supposed to launch towards the end of this year. I'd say, maybe late summer.
Yeah.
Do you see Mars? Could send something to Mars. Okay, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Even Falcon 9 could send something to Mars. So, if Falcon 9 could send it, I don't know, maybe 3 tons, 4 tons to Mars. Falcon Heavy could send probably 12, 13 tons to Mars. Yeah. Okay, that would be, I would be here for a long time. I have to decline the selfies. It will be like 4 a.m. before I even know. Sorry? No.
Group selfies. They're asking if he'll take selfies. He's like, no, I'm here to bring.
So you say that men will be on
stand
Mars
next to the stage and just be like.
Hopefully.
Where else do you plan to send men? Venus, Europa? What are your plans after Mars?
I think I'll send men and women.
I hope so.
Venus, I wouldn't recommend Venus. It's a high pressure acid bath. But Mars is, Mars is very doable. The moon is doable. You could do some of the moons of Saturn and Jupiter. And potentially asteroids. But I think the most important thing is to create a self-sustaining city on Mars. That's I think the critical thing for maximizing humanity's likely the life of humanity. I mean, how long will our civilization last? If we're a multi-planet species, it's likely to last a lot longer. And if we have a self-sustaining city on Mars, that's going to create a huge forcing function for the improvement of space transport technology. And then that could ultimately lead us to go beyond the solar system. So that's yeah. But I think, I'll have to take that as my last question. Thank you for coming, and I think you've done an amazing job.
Design Weekend at Texas A&M. Thank you for coming. One quick comment. Elon's staff told us only the awards will be signed. No hats, no shirts, no papers, just the awards. And what we need you to do is bring your award up here. We will get it signed and we will get it back to you. You can strike your booths and then attend the SpaceX party. Thank you for coming.
That was awesome. Well, thank you everybody for that hopped on. That was a big surprise to us here at the Hyperloop pod competition in Texas, College Station. And all of a sudden they were giving out the awards and Elon popped up. So there you go. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Thanks to all the live viewers and all the replay viewers. We're going to go check out the rest of the pods and the competitors. Bye-bye.